My name is Tyler Brooks. I'm 32 years old, a cybersecurity consultant based in Austin, Texas. I've worked with banks, startups, even hospitals, protecting data from the kind of people who think digital boundaries don't matter. But as good as I was at protecting systems, I didn't realize I needed to protect myself. Not from hackers, but from the woman I thought I was building my life with. Her name was Jenna. And for almost 2 years, I thought we were solid. We lived together in my condo. I paid most of the bills, but I didn't mind. She was launching her own online shop, and I wanted to support her. I'd come home from work, and she'd be on the couch, hoodie on, hair up, tapping away at her laptop. We didn't talk much some nights, but I told myself that's what comfort looks like. Familiar silence, shared space, stability. But over time, that silence changed. It wasn't peaceful anymore. It was heavy, colder than anything I've ever felt from someone I loved. One night, I was sitting right next to her on the couch. I asked if she wanted to order Thai food. She didn't respond. I thought she didn't hear me, until I saw her phone light up. She was replying to someone else. I waited, watched. She laughed at something on her screen. Still nothing for me. So I leaned over and said again, "Babe, Thai food?" She finally looked up and said, "I'm not hungry," before going right back to texting. That was the night I started noticing a pattern. She wasn't angry. She wasn't sad. She just stopped treating me like I existed. But I didn't confront her. I didn't raise my voice. I've spent years learning how to stay calm in high-pressure situations. And I told myself, maybe she's stressed. Maybe it's a phase. But deep down, something didn't feel right. Something had shifted, and it wasn't small. Still, I held back. Watched. Waited. Then one day, the only time she acknowledged me was when the Wi-Fi stopped working. She came out of the bedroom like she'd been shot. "Tyler, what happened to the internet?" She hadn't spoken to me in 3 days. Not even a good morning. But the second the Wi-Fi dropped, suddenly I mattered. And in that moment, standing there in silence, watching her freak out over a lost signal, I knew. She didn't just leave my messages on read. She left me on read. And whether she knew it or not, I had just logged out, emotionally. But what she didn't know was that I don't get mad. I get strategic. I met Jenna on a Thursday night. Not at a bar. Not through friends. We matched on an app that promised authentic connection. Her first message? "Cybersecurity, huh? So you're the guy who makes sure my passwords don't leak?" It made me laugh. I replied, "Only if your password isn't Jenna123. We clicked instantly. She was smart, sarcastic, weird in the best way. A digital artist, selling retro stickers and merch online. Our first date was at an old-school arcade bar. She kicked my ass at air hockey. Twice. I remember the way she laughed when I fake-pouted, head back, totally unfiltered. It was the kind of laugh that stays with you. And for a long time, so did she. After a few months, she started spending more time at my place. Eventually, it just made sense for her to move in. She brought energy into my quiet life. Plants, Polaroids, glitter markers, sticker sheets everywhere. Our home looked chaotic, but it felt alive. She'd stay up late working on her Etsy orders. I'd bring her tea, rub her shoulders, and crash beside her on the couch. Sometimes, she'd look at me and say, "You're the safest place I've ever known." And I believed her. When her laptop broke, I bought her a new one. When her sales dipped, I helped redesign her website, SEO, ad funnels, email automation. I even paid for some of her shipping supplies during the holidays. I didn't keep score. I just wanted her to win. Because when you love someone, their success feels like your success too. We started talking long term. She didn't want a traditional wedding, just a cabin in the woods, fairy lights, close friends. She told me I was the one. I believed her then, too. And sure, we had differences. She hated how organized I was. I hated how chaotic she was. But those weren't deal breakers. The real cracks were quieter. They didn't show up in big fights. They slipped in during the pauses. I started noticing little things. She used to text me, "Good morning," even when we were in the same house. That stopped. She used to share memes and playlists with me. Now she posted them to her close friends story. I wasn't on it anymore. I'd ask how her day was and she'd just shrug or say, "Nothing worth sharing." But I knew she was talking to someone. I just didn't know who or why I wasn't enough anymore. One time, I came home early. She was in the bedroom with headphones on, whispering into her phone. When I knocked, she slammed the laptop shut and said, "You scared me." Scared her? I lived there. I paid the mortgage. I brought dinner. Still, I let it go. I told myself, she's an introvert. She needs space. She's just stressed. She never said, "I love you," unless I said it first. Eventually, I stopped saying it too, just to see if she'd notice. She didn't. But even then, I didn't want to believe the worst. Because the hardest truth to swallow is the one that tells you, you've been replaced, but you're still in the room. I tried to hold on. To what we used to be. To the way she used to run into my arms. The way she used to trace little circles on my hand when we watched movies. The way she once said, "You're not just my person. You're my peace." But peace doesn't leave you unread for 4 days straight. Peace doesn't avoid your eyes when you're sitting right there. Peace doesn't lock itself in a room and come out only when the Wi-Fi breaks. That wasn't peace anymore. That was distance. And the worst part? I didn't even know how we got here. I just knew. I wasn't where she lived anymore. I was just the guy paying rent. There's a difference between silence and secrecy. I used to think Jenna just needed space. But soon, it started to feel like she needed hiding places. It began with her phone. She used to leave it anywhere: kitchen counter, bathroom sink, nightstand. Now, it never left her side. Even when she took a shower, it was on the towel rack, screen face down, locked. And when she typed, she tilted the screen away, like I might see something I wasn't supposed to. I didn't say anything. I just noticed. Then came the late nights. She told me she was working on a new product launch, but her store hadn't been updated in weeks. No new listings. No new packaging. And yet, her laptop stayed open past 2 a.m. She wore headphones. She smiled at the screen, laughed, whispered, paused when I walked by. Once, I walked in to grab my charger. She clicked her screen off like it burned her fingers. I asked, "Everything okay?" She nodded too fast. "Yeah. Just watching a tutorial." Except, you don't giggle during a tutorial. Not like that. Still, I didn't confront her. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Because once you ask that question, "Are you cheating on me?" you can't unask it. And if you're wrong, you break the trust. But if you're right, you break your own heart. So I watched. And waited. But I also started thinking like what I am. A cybersecurity guy. I don't guess. I log. I observe patterns. I quietly set up a separate profile on our home router. Gave her device its own name. Tracked when it connected, what sites it pinged, which services she accessed. I never touched her messages. Never crossed that line. I didn't need to. The internet was enough. She was visiting the same private Discord server, night after night. Accessing one specific voice channel. Staying online for hours. I cross-checked the timestamps. Every time her screen was glowing at 2:17 a.m., she was there. Talking to someone. Not working. Then came the passwords. She changed her email login. Then her laptop password. Then her Etsy dashboard, the one I built for her. One night, I tried to upload a new site backup. It bounced back. Access denied. I was locked out. That's when I knew. This wasn't just distance. This was a digital divide, and she'd built it on purpose. The girl who once called me her tech wizard was now hiding behind firewalls from me. And I wish I could say I reacted with rage. But the truth is, I just sat there, staring at my monitor, feeling something inside me quietly snap. Not loud, not violent, just final. Because now, I wasn't guessing anymore. I didn't have the full picture yet, but I had the outline. And it spelled out one truth. She was gone. Emotionally, mentally, digitally. She had disconnected from us and reconnected with someone else. But I didn't rush, didn't confront, didn't explode, because I wasn't ready for the fallout. I was preparing for control. And that meant one thing. The more she thought I didn't notice, the more power I had when the time came. It happened on a Wednesday night. Nothing special about it, until it changed everything. I'd just finished a late client call, came out of my office around 11:30 p.m. Jenna's bedroom light was still on, dim, flickering like candlelight. Except, we didn't own any candles. I walked past her door. Heard her voice. Soft. Laughing. She wasn't alone. At least, not emotionally. I didn't go in. Didn't interrupt. Just walked past to the living room, opened my laptop, and checked the activity log. She connected to the same private Discord server, again. Same voice channel. Same user she always pinged. This time, I took a deeper look. The guy's username had a photo. I reverse searched it. It didn't take long. His real name popped up, Kyle Morgan. Her ex. The one she swore was toxic. The one she blocked 2 years ago. Apparently, he was unblocked now. And talking to her for hours, almost every night. On the internet I paid for. On the devices I upgraded. In the house I built around her comfort. Still, I wasn't emotional yet. I was methodical. I clicked through her old Etsy backups. Found a folder from 8 weeks ago, misnamed, buried inside her assets folder. Inside was a screenshot of her Discord DMs. A thumbnail preview only, accidentally cached. But I could read enough. I still think about that night. You felt like home. Don't worry, he doesn't even ask questions anymore. That was me. I was he. The ghost in the house. The man who paid for Wi-Fi but couldn't get a reply. Still, I didn't break down. I stared at the screen for a long time. Long enough for the rage to start rising. Then settle. Then clarify. I could have screamed. I could have confronted her. I could have walked in that room and demanded answers. But no. That's what she expected. That's what Kyle expected too. A reaction. Drama? They'd prepared for that. What they hadn't prepared for was silence. That night, I closed my laptop, walked into the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and made a decision. No more asking. No more waiting. No more hoping for the version of her that used to exist. From this moment forward, I wasn't trying to fix it. I was planning my exit. And if silence was the game she wanted to play, I'd let her feel it. But not emotionally. No. She was about to feel real silence. The kind that drops when everything digital goes dark. The next morning, I woke up before her. She was still in bed, curled around her phone like it was a lifeline. She had no idea what I knew. And I intended to keep it that way. Because the one advantage of being underestimated is that no one sees you coming. I logged into our router's admin dashboard. Not her guest login, root access. Split the network into two separate lines. One for me, one for her. She didn't notice. But now, every packet her laptop sent came through me first. From there, I created a silent log. Every site she accessed. Every app. Every timestamp. She stayed connected to that private Discord server for 18 consecutive nights. Her chat partner? Kyle. The man who, according to her, made her feel unsafe. Now she was whispering to him at 2 a.m. while lying 10 feet away from me. I started backing everything up. Screenshots. Activity logs. Not because I planned to expose her publicly, but because I knew what she'd try to pull when I left. She'd twist the story. Call me controlling. Say I monitored her. So I needed proof. Cold, silent, undeniable. Meanwhile, I met with my lawyer. Quietly shifted the lease to her name. She didn't notice because I handled all the paperwork. Canceled the joint utilities one by one, electric, water, garbage. Everything except the Wi-Fi. That was the last piece. The fuse waiting to be lit. Next, I checked the LLC and trademarks for her Etsy shop. She never filed the paperwork. I did. I owned the site domain, the backend CMS, and 70% of the digital assets, legally. So while she poured her soul into growing her brand, I was preparing the kill switch. I didn't delete anything. I just transferred ownership. Redirected the site to a blank holding page. Set a backup archive on my private server. Scheduled a digital lockout. Everything was set. Everything silent. The last step? I created a custom splash screen. The one that would replace her internet connection when the time was right. Black screen. White text. Simple message. Connection lost. So was trust. I added one line below. You're offline now, just like you've been with me. Then I waited. Waited for her to go just a little too far. Say one more lie. Ignore one more message. Look me in the eyes and pretend I didn't exist again. And that moment came fast. 3 days later, she walked past me in the hallway. No eye contact. No hello. Just laughed at a message from Kyle on her phone. That laugh. It felt like a slap in the face. In my house. Using my resources. Living under my roof. While treating me like a stranger. So that night, I packed a small bag. Put my essentials in the trunk. Laptop. IDs. Backup drives. Legal documents. I didn't tell her I was leaving. I didn't say goodbye. I just clicked one button from my phone. Disable Wi-Fi. And the trap was triggered. From the driveway, I watched through the window. She came out of the bedroom, confused. Then panicked. Opened her laptop. Tried rebooting the router. Nothing. She checked her phone. No connection. Then the screen popped up. She froze. Stared at it for a long, long time. I could see her mouth the words on the splash screen. Connection lost. So was trust. She ran to the window, spotted my car. But it was too late. I was already gone. I didn't hear from her for the first 12 hours. But I knew she was scrambling. No Wi-Fi. No dashboard access. No idea how or why everything had collapsed overnight. What she didn't realize was, this wasn't a system crash. It was a calculated shutdown. By day 2, the call started. Block number. I didn't answer. Then came the emails, from a friend's account, begging to talk. But there was nothing left to say. I let the silence do the talking. She messaged, "Why are you doing this?" I replied, "You left me offline in my own life. I'm just returning the favor." Then came the desperate attempt. She tried to log into the Etsy backend. Too late. Ownership had already been legally transferred. She sent one final message. "You can't do this. This brand is mine." I replied with one sentence. "Check the IP history. Who built it? Who paid for it? Who filed it?" No reply. A week later, she received the formal lease transfer notice. Utilities in her name. All expenses legally moved over. Her panic turned to bitterness. Then to silence. Which suited me just fine. But I wasn't done. You see, Jenna had started a healing podcast after our relationship began unraveling. Episodes about toxic partners, feeling unseen, being trapped with controlling men. Thinly veiled digs, always vague enough to avoid defamation, but sharp enough to sting. And I let her talk. Let her build her little empire of victimhood. Until I filed a cease and desist with audio timestamps, IP records, and back-end platform access logs. Her response? Dead silence. And then, episode 12 mysteriously disappeared. She didn't mention me again. And as for Kyle? He reached out, too. Sent me a smug little DM. "Bro, it's not that deep. You lost her. Move on." So I screenshotted the message, attached it to an anonymous email, and sent it to his girlfriend, the one Jenna didn't know existed. He got ghosted, too. Hard. I didn't need to shout. Didn't need to threaten. Didn't even raise my voice. I just let truth and data do the damage. And they did. She lost her online platform. Lost her business structure. Got stuck with the bills. No audience. No sympathy. No escape. But the best part? I didn't break a single law. Didn't lay a hand on her. Didn't leak anything. Didn't scream, accuse, or shame her in public. I stayed quiet. Professional. Cold. Like a firewall closing in. By the end of that month, I got a message from one of her old friends, someone I'd met maybe twice. She said, "I don't know what happened between you two, but whatever it was, I think she finally understands what she lost." I didn't respond, because I wasn't interested in revenge anymore. I was interested in peace. It's been 11 months. I live in a smaller apartment now. 1 bedroom, fewer windows, less noise. But somehow, it feels bigger, brighter, lighter. The silence I used to dread? Now it's mine. It no longer means neglect. It means peace. I don't check Wi-Fi usage logs anymore. I don't monitor activity. I don't second-guess someone else's laughter. Because I no longer share space with someone who makes me question my own value. Sometimes people ask me, "Do you miss her?" And honestly, I miss who I thought she was. I miss the woman who used to fall asleep on my chest. The one who said I made her feel safe. But she left long before I walked out. She just left quietly, message by message, silence by silence. Until one day, the version of me she remembered wasn't enough. That's okay. Because I didn't get bitter. I got clear. I didn't retaliate. I reclaimed. I still build systems for a living. Still protect people. Still work in shadows. But now, I protect myself first. And I've learned. The worst kind of loneliness is being invisible next to someone you love. The worst kind of betrayal is when they don't even hide it, because they assume you won't do anything about it. But I did. Silently. Legally. Completely. And I walked away with the one thing she never gave me toward the end. Self-respect. Now I'm seeing someone new. Her name's Elise. She's not loud, not flashy, but when she speaks, I feel heard. And when she's quiet, I don't feel forgotten. I just feel safe. It's early, but it feels different. Not because she's better, but because I am. I don't carry the need to prove my worth anymore. I don't overgive, overfix, or overfunction. I just show up, fully, and let that be enough. So if you've ever been ghosted inside your own home, if someone made you feel like a placeholder, a password reset, a disconnected device, just know you don't need revenge. You just need a reset. One that starts with you. She left me on read for weeks, but today I read myself clearly for the first time. And I finally replied, not with a message, but with a better life.